early.
This is nice. You can do your own compass center.
Yes. Hmm.
Here we go. Oh, that looks like Cindy.
She's got 3 daughters.
Yeah. Awesome. Look at him. Look at his lovely, peaceful face. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You can look at a person's face and just see all that love and peace. Aha!
Yeah, hello Daniel. Hello
Good.
Cheryl.
Fine. Little okay, let me turn my volume up. There we go. You feel better?
Yeah.
Good. Good. And you can read the what do we call it? The captions? Do you get captions
Yes.
on your screen? Good.
Mhm.
Good. You've used Zoom before?
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Many times. Yeah.
So is this a picture behind you, or is that actually where you are?
No, there's not actually. Yeah, it's a picture.
Oh, good.
Nice.
I think I can do that too. I don't. I did have a photograph, beautiful photograph of the mountains blown up. Cost me $60, but I think now I can load this picture JPEG onto Zoom, and it'll probably do what I needed. Yes. And your children, the girls, are they in school today?
Yeah, then I will. Yeah, this is almost 2:30 a.m. in the morning here.
Oh,
Oh.
excuse me. They're still in bed.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness sakes.
Well, thank you for getting up this early. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, my normal waking up in the morning is 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah.
I've most of my many dozens of books and papers were written in the early mornings, hours. Yeah. Oh. Oops. There's Martha, yes.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, fine.
Hi, Martha.
How are you?
Excellent.
Lovely to see both of you. I'm
Oh,
very well, thanks. I'm just changing my name. Are we the only ones here?
Yes, Senny's here.
Oh. Hi. Hi, Sunny.
Yeah.
Can
hello,
I
Martha.
see him? Oh, hi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
Is that really where you are, or is that a beautiful background?
Just a background.
Lovely to meet you.
Bonjour.
Bonjour everybody. Bonjour Daniel. Bonjour
Bonjour,
chérie.
Jacques.
Bonjour
Comment
Marc.
allez-vous?
See, it's 3:30 in the morning where Senny lives.
No. Are we doing this to him? No, Sunny, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Bonjour Seni.
That's
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
it's in winter. It's in winter in New Zealand.
Yeah, we are slowly
Ah.
heading into the warm season. Yeah.
Like Martha.
Yes, we also have a warm season. I'm in Cape Town.
I am
soon
in
we'll-
France.
So that's 3 continents, and soon we'll have someone from Venezuela. And then Daniel, so we have 5, what?
This is truly a spiritual global adventure.
But as you
Hi,
said,
Kona.
as you said, Daniel, this adventure started for the teaching mission in New Zealand.
Aha.
Yes.
So we have
Yes.
one loop.
Senny is learning from the ground up. He's a deeply spiritual man. He is very humble, won't exaggerate himself. And if you like me, you're going to love him.
Aha. Hi, Kona.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Kona. How are
Good
you?
morning,
Sunshine.
everyone.
Bonjour.
Doing
Kona.
all right. Can't complain. These trips to the car place are a little crazy though. I had to go again this morning, but at least I'm back in time.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So welcome, Senny.
Hello, Connor.
I love your backdrop. I wish I was there.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's a general consensus this morning.
Yes. I mean, mine is water, but it's a little chillier at Peggy's Cove. A little chillier. So 8:29. We have just a minute. Are we still waiting for Juan?
One, yeah.
Okay,
Just
I'll give him
1
a call.
minute.
sure. Senny, we'll go over we've been preparing for you to come. When I first came in, I came as an observer. Daniel, I don't know how you feel about new folks coming in, but we start as an observer just to kind of see how things go. And then see if you have questions about, what's going on. And then Daniel gives us a transmission. And at the end of the transmission, if we have questions for whoever's coming through the celestial, please feel free to join in for asking questions, okay?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right.
Penny, we record the session on video, and then we share the video with all the members. And also we do some days later paper transcript of all what has been said.
Okay.
And we have an AI that we that we spend time with the AI now before we send that summary out. So
Juan.
Buenos días.
welcome,
Buenos
Juan.
Buenos
Yes,
dias,
Juan.
Juan.
Let's begin, please.
Thank you. Let's please take a moment of silence. And then Martha, if you would offer prayer, and then we'll go straight to Daniel for transmission.
Certainly.
let you know when we have our minute of centering time. Just take this time now to settle in, connect with spirit, connect soul to soul with each other. Let the circumstances of the world around us be set aside so that we can be here together. Thank you, Martha. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Most High God of universes, who indwells our human minds, thought adjust to ours, beloved eternal companion, we are the children of your divine intention. We thank you for this universe in which we find ourselves and its spiritual contours. We thank you for the teachers we have, for the example of Christ Michael, Mother Nebudonia, our planetary prince Makiventa Melchizedek, our magisterial son Manjaranson, and all the other teachers, Sonia Melchizedek, all the other teachers we've had access to all these years. We thank you for the midwayers, and we thank you for our awareness of the billions of years of history and its spiritual import and purpose. We thank you now for the opportunity to listen to one of our celestial teachers. We thank you for the presence of Seni all the way from New Zealand in the cold hours of the morning. Please help us create a group that could truly become a global group to honor your divine intentions and to unfold your divine purpose on this planet at this time. We express our gratitude for the presence of all the spiritual teachers amongst us. Help us open our minds so that we may understand what we're being taught. Amen.
Amen. One moment. Good day. This is Makiventa Melchizedek, your planetary manager. I thank you for your prayer in this opening and this time of quiet, where we can approach each of you separately and assist you in this session today, as we do throughout the day and the week and the months and years. Yes. Speaking for myself and the Most Highs, we now have established full confidence in Friday's team. This Friday's team is now the recipient of the largesse of the beneficence of the Most Highs, in that they have begun the implementation of their planetary program. You have noted that your group represents several continents and various places around the world. This will expand. Yes, and some individuals will show up unexpectedly, almost startlingly, that they will show up and be present and join your group. Begin them as observers, as you say, and let them decide whether they want to join and whether they can be of assistance to the group. We thank you for your presence here today and your faithfulness to be here each time that we meet. This is an important ingredient of the faithfulness of your commitment to our work, Christ Michael's work, and we thank you for that. Yes, we also appreciate the hard copy, written, transcribed sessions that are so tedious for you to do. We apologize for the difficulty of doing so. This will become easier in the future. You see, it is one thing to have recordings and artificial intelligence interpretations and summations, but it is quite another when one wants to find the exact words and the exact wording, to analyze the meanings behind the words that are shared with you. You can anticipate that the transcript from today and prior transcripts from the last 30 years or so will be perused very closely by individuals in the future. You see, we are beginning the new era of your civilization. We are beginning with you to start to design that civilization. It is important that this civilization now exists with an intention, with a plan, and that there is a process of awareness of the larger necessity that each individual make a meaningful contribution in their lives for the survival of their children and of their societies and your civilization. Humanity has been given the largesse of spirit for its existence for hundreds of thousands of years, and now it is payback time. It is time for humanity now to honor the commitment to help this planet survive. We, the spiritual realm, has upheld this diligently, faithfully for hundreds of thousands of years. And now it is time for you to learn how to care for the planet just as we do. It requires a commitment both to the positive and constructive development of plans to assist the maturity and evolution, developmental evolution of family structures and social institutions, and the sciences that are attendant to those social sciences. It is important that this be done faithfully in time. During this co-creative era, we are working with you intimately to bring about the positive development of your civilization on this planet. You are and we are planting the seeds of your new societies and your civilization that will become and bloom as the days of light and life, where whole societies are settled and at peace, and your social activities, your political activities, and economic activities all work together to make a coherence of your society. And the next step is to create a coherence of societies around the world. On Earth, Urantia, it is very difficult to do. It will take abnormally long periods of time to accomplish compared to those worlds which are regular 9/10 of the type of planets throughout the Nebadon that have a plan that was given to that planet by the celestials, by the architects of Nebadon, and by Christ Michael and his executive staff. Your planet is an exception in the greatest extreme. It is the ones that will be the greatest challenge for other planets to emulate who are also decimal planets. What we're learning from you, your world, your societies, your people, your civilization, are the shortcuts, the means by which we can lead individuals, groups of individuals, and whole societies into the days of light and life without being overt. Yes, we do operate covertly in the minds of many people. We use persuasion to assist individuals to be inclined to the positive, to the constructive, to the enlightenment, the spiritual development of themselves and of their world. It is our wish that your societies provide a safe place for families to exist, for communities to work together with families so that families are revered and respected, and that parents are given the opportunities to learn their roles as parenting and childcare. Child rearing is not an easy subject on a difficult planet. It is something that will be resisted by many, as they will term it as interference. Yet, most people like to be happy. Happiness begins in the family. Happiness begins in the families that are stable, that are peaceful, that are kind, that also teach the children the right mental attitudes and perspectives of others. It is not easy to learn a new ethic, but we will teach you. You have the materials now to learn this new ethic. This is the ethic that will bring about coherence in families, communities, societies, and your whole civilization. And this is something that is necessary for your world to accomplish. Each individual has a moral and spiritual responsibility to attend to their responsibilities to assist in that process. Secondly, it is necessary also to diminish those negative influences on your planet. Your societies, whether they are totalitarian or democratic, with their representation, have been too naive, too permissive, to allow those people, those individuals, to create a social and personal disruption. Millions of your people have suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder due to childhood abuse, adult abuse, and violence on the streets and where they work, and so on. This is not to be tolerated. You, as moral individuals, have a responsibility to diminish this negative influence in your families, your communities, your societies, nations, and the world. Now, reflect upon that on the international scene right now. You live in a very hostile world. There are hostile dictators and authoritarian regimes which are truant. They are out of order. They are miscreants who create trouble to the people who want peace and who want to be settled and safe. This too will come to an end, though there will be great travesty that will occur before those miscreants are removed. I just a moment ago mentioned about ethics, about morality and values. It is important that your ethical understandings mature. You have a personal morality and ethic. You have a social morality and ethic. But what is lacking, hugely lacking, is a societal ethic and morality, where society must be protected for its own good. Society is a social organism. It needs to be protected just as your pets need to be protected. The ravages of crime and degeneration, moral degeneration, are anathema to a stable society. You must bring about the maturity of your ethical and moral development. It is an evolution. And once you have worked on that, you will see the necessity then of working on an international ethic and morality, and then finally a planetary ethic and morality. These are not platitudes. These are not suggestions to you. These are really a requirement that you attend to these responsibilities beginning now. We know that you would like to play with your organizations and you would like to develop your programs for doing this and doing that. Right now, your resources are limited. There's very few of you, and you have almost no financial means to support your activities. Yet your minds are free. Your minds are active. They can be working in concert with each other in team settings across the Zoom program. You, if you have not, then need to read the work that Avila, Melchizedek, and this one have written on making sense of ethics, and read it page by page until you have read the whole document. Then you'll be ready to discuss social ethics and morality, and finally societal ethics and morality. And when I ask you to do this, I direct you to do this, I am not leaving you without difficulty alone. You will find a very difficult situation when it comes to societal morality. You must think through this. You must think of the morality of a settled planet. And so you will be imaginative in the solutions that you develop. As you have noted, Senny showed up out of the blue, so to speak, and so did Stefan. What's his last name?
Patrick.
Stephen Patrick showed up out of the blue. You will have more and more individuals who just show up. They're being called. They have something to offer. For those in far distant places, these will be outposts of our work, which then we will eventually tend to and grow into larger groups so that they have family learning centers as we will have here in this nation and in Europe and South Africa and Mexico and Venezuela. These are challenges. There will be very great difficulties for you to establish those communities in difficult nations and regimes. You must then do so not subversively, but you must do that under the cover of secrecy so that you are not punished. You see, our message is one of peace, or our message is one of equality. We are all of the same genre of gender of species. I'm a Melchizedek, but I am your teacher and your advisor, and I'm teaching you and advising you to become one in the wholeness of your world. This is something far different than the competitive environment in which you were raised, where you compete with yourself, each other, and teams and groups and associations and nations. I am not an autocrat. It would be paradoxical, wouldn't it, for me to say, enough of that, we're going to stop that. But we cannot. This is an experiential world where we are learning experientially with you as you go through the tragedies and travesties of humans, mortals who are spirit-led, living on a very difficult planet that has only recently come out of rebellion. This is Macaventa. Oh. Know that I love you. Know that I care about you. And when I say I am speaking of the I am as the first source and center. Good day.
Well,
Thank you, Macaventa. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Macaventa. Thank you, Daniel.
This is Macaventa. If you have questions, please raise them now.
Thank you, Macaventa. This is Kona. Thank you for the message on ethics. Of course, you know, I had lots of questions about that coming into today's session anyway. On our planet, of course, we have many philosophies around ethics and decision making. And my question is the process of our decision making going to shift based on this work by Avila through Daniel, or are we still going to use or adapt other decision-making processes by which we already have on the planet through deontology and consequentialism and virtue ethics and Christian ethics? Are those going to shift? Is there a different way of making decisions ethically? Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you for your question. Our process is not to shift to fit those philosophies or ideologies or those ethics. We are on a hard course forward using the 7 innate values that are innate to the human genome and the ethic and morality that are subsequent to those 7 values. Those values underlie all the decisions that will become ethical and moral. The rules of ethical and moral decision making look to the 7 values to see what benefits humanity and what does not, what benefits the individual and what does not. These are the tried and true values that are used on billions of planets throughout the universe. The protection of life is essential. The nurturance of equality is vital to social equality and morality and ethics in all regards. And to have people grow individually, they must have societies that grow and evolve as well. The key to this is to have empathy and to have a compassion for those who are lesser than you and less fortunate to have the benefits of a more stable society. And of course, combine those 2 values, secondary values, teach you to love all humanity as one. Whether those other philosophies, ideologies, and ethics change or not is something that is up to those individuals. We know our course forward, and we will not deviate. Thank you.
Thank you, Macaventa. The challenge that I have in viewing decision making is some people will make decisions that impact themselves and not look at the greater good, where it sounds like the decision making that you're asking us to do is to look at the greater good. So how might we have that conversation with someone who, let's say, they're looking at themselves and developing themselves and their virtue? How might we have that conversation with them to see the greater good rather than just looking at themselves?
The how is your problem, not ours.
Thank you, of course.
What you must look at is the personal ethics, social ethics, societal ethics, and international ethics. There lies your answers. Once you understand how this ethic and morality work, you will know how to address that individual. And for everyone, remember that ethics deals with relationships between the individual and others, whether that's another individual or a social group or a society or the nation or a nation and association of nations and your planet. Morality, on the other hand, has to do with life and the conditions of life and living. This makes it very simple this way. We do not get into an intellectual argumentation about ethics and morality and what they mean. The meaning is very clear. To violate a rule of ethics means that you are considering yourself first before others, whether the considerations for yourself, your associated group, your nation, your ethnic group, your racial group, or a cultural group. it makes it very clear that because of the primary value of equality, that you must treat everyone equally. This is going to be very hard for other people to wrap their head around. You're already speaking of a cognitive dissonance where people are not able to use this kind of language, these kinds of values, and even understand the basic tenets of this very simple ethic and morality. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Jacques. Bonjour, Makivanta. I have a question. You speak here about lack of international ethic and morality. And this is a big problem for our work. Here we try to promote ethic, morality, and the 7 value in decision making. But when we look at the politics now in US, even in France today, Venezuela, and the rest of the world, it seems that those who are governing today, are completely out of the scope of everything. They don't understand. They are far from this decision making for the best of everybody. So for us as human, as you can see from above, it's a very difficult pressure we found around us. We have understood from you that we need to start by local community, family first, local community, and then we will go up. But we don't see today, and this is my question, we don't see today how to cope with these politics people.
Thank you, Jacques. This is Makivanta Melchizedek. You are a very forward thinker. You think in terms of nations and their aggressions. You think of groups of individuals and of nations. Where really, if you don't understand and don't practice these ethics as an individual, then you will never be able to convince anyone else that you were right, and that your point of view of oneness with all others is the correct view that will lead to eternal life. You are concerned about the mortal life of individuals, and this is a concern that is intimate to your own personal life, and you share that with your family and your children and your neighbors. You wish to start at the end and change everything. You want to know what to do to cover your floor with a beautiful grand Persian rug, for example. And you want to see how to do that. But the first place to begin is to learn to weave and learn how to make a loom. And you would start with a very small rug that you could use perhaps as a placemat on your table, or to lie under the centerpiece on your dining room table. To begin with taking on the task of weaving a room-size rug of great proportions and great intricacy is one that stops a person from even trying. We're striving to entice you to try where you are. Begin with yourself. Begin with someone you can argue philosophically with, someone you can sit down with a cup of tea or coffee and discuss an ethical problem, and then begin to apply the rules of ethical decision-making and interpretation to your subject matter with your friend. This is how you begin. This is how we advise you to begin. It is essential that children learn this new method of ethics, of making sound ethical argumentation where they can feel confident in what they're doing. If your end result is peace, then begin with peace within yourself. Understand what resists peace and work with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Makiventa. I have a different question. You spoke about the arrival of Seni and also Stephen Patrick recently. And you remember in the past we had a contact with our good friend from Russia, Godwin. We stopped discussing with him since now a few months. I wonder if it would be time to share with him our transcript again, because Russia, it's a big continent, and so, like us, they have to prepare for something for the future. So do you think it's a good opportunity to start talking again with Godwin in Russia?
This is Makavanta. Thank you for your question. Yes, and of course, do so, please. The difficulty is, will the Russian infrastructure allow him to do that? Will he be permitted to use the internet for those purposes? We believe that this is the largest stumbling block that we have for penetrating those communist countries and totalitarian countries where outside influences are verboten, are forbidden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Makiventa. I have a question, and thanks for your presence here. Just before we started this meeting, one of my African colleagues came to me, and she said 6 ideas popped into her head today, whereby she wants to start a business to help hundreds of thousands or millions of unemployed women. And I just wondered, it is clear, obviously, before we start anything like that, we'll need to do conscious contact and ask for guidance. But I was just wondering if the time is now, before things might collapse, to start such a project. And if she starts such a project, whether she'll be assisted by her celestial helpers based on the purity of her intentions. Thank you very much.
This is Makavanta. You know already, Martha, do you not, that your friend is already surrounded by celestial helpers? Do not doubt that. You do not need to ask for that. That is something that she must generate herself. We know that you praying for her is sufficient to us for us to initiate assistances with her. She is a believer already, and so she has helpers already, in fact, around her. And again, her project is very much like weaving a room-size rug. She must begin where she is, where by helping one individual and then several of her colleagues to do exactly what she wants to do. We know it is a human penchant for those who see possibilities to want to achieve the end first. It is much like informing your president that he is out of bounds, or that he is or she is working on the wrong topics, putting the resources in the wrong places. Well, that's very wonderful to do, but that is just another one of your phantasmical fantasies, a dream that you wish would come true. It must begin with the individual. How is your lovely friend doing for herself? And does she have any success stories for herself that she could share with others to find the employment and begin the business that she wants? Begin small, please. This is how we will change your world, by beginning small. We begin with children. We began with you a long time ago, and see where you have come from. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Makiventa.
Mrs. Macaventa. Senny, do you have any questions, sir?
Oh, Magavenda. My question is that what brings you, what has stirred up in you to call me to this group? And
What stirred up? What invited him? Led him?
This is Daniel. You want to know what we provided to you to make contact with me, Daniel? Is that the question? Maybe I missed it.
I think the question is, Daniel, Sunny is asking Macaventa, what stirred Macaventa to bring him to this group? He's saying, Macaventa, why me? Why here? Why now? Is that about right, Sunny?
yes, yes, good.
Okay, there you
That's
go.
right.
Macaventa does have a little bit of a sense of humor, I'm learning.
And why at 3:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Correct.
This is Macaventa, Melchizedek. Thank you for your question. Well, my friend, if you had a farm and you were given a new tractor and the implements to use it, and you had large open fields, would you not want to use that tractor to plant the fields and assist in your product, and assist in your producing food for yourself and income and food for others? Yes, of course, you're very eager to do that. Well, my friend, you do not underestimate our abilities. We're past capabilities, our abilities to view people of light, literally of spiritual light. As we see your world, we see the points of light. You were a bright light in the Pacific. We have been following your work for almost all of your life, if not before. Your thought adjuster is a primary element in identifying you, for us to identify you as a capable individual. And yes, we did persuade you in your mind of all the options you had at the time, we persuaded you to take the best option. You made the decision. We just persuaded you. Thank you.
Thank you, Magavenda.
This is Macaventa. We appreciate and thank you for your presence here today. Do not be surprised that as this group grows, it will grow faster. And so it is our hope that you would be able to provide a means by which many people can listen in. It may be difficult for our moderator, a facilitator, to attend to many dozens, hundreds of people, but there's an opportunity there is a means by which that can be made available to assist you. We ask you to look into that possibility because it is our wish that we would deluge you with many opportunities to expand this work. It may be that you would need further individuals to use my presence and that of other teachers to guide the discussion of this work. as one of the requirements you will need if you want to become active international channels is to know the materials that we will be using, to know them thoroughly. The documents we have provided to you for democracy, for ethics, for family, and so on, is the program of bringing about the new era of your civilization. It is important that you understand these things. Just as you may want to buy a new sewing machine to learn to sew and to embroider and to hem and so on and make repairs, you would read the manual and you would want to become proficient at using that machine. Well, we have created a social spiritual machine for you to use. It is important that you begin to learn the rudiments of using that spiritual social machine. This is Macaventa. I wish you a good day. You are blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Macaventa. Thank you, Daniel.
Macaventa. Thank you, Daniel.
Denny, go ahead.
The Macaventa is not giving you much slack. Okay, he sees you as highly accomplished as spiritual individuals who can participate socially and spiritually in a group of this dimension and this dynamic. He's eminently patient, and he's been patient for 25, 30 years plus, and now he is holding us to a higher standard for our behavior and our words. Yes, Kona.
Daniel, he brought up for us to prepare for, the possibility of many people here at once. And just like Senny is at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he spoke about channels. Is he talking about other TRs who will channel him? Is he looking at us having more time with you? Do you have a sense as far as what we should prepare for? Just wait for further instructions.
Now, you use Senny and Macaventa in the same sentence paragraph, and you referred to, you said he. Who's the
Okay,
he?
I'm sorry. Let me clarify. So Macaventa said through you that he is bringing more people. He wants us to prepare for like having hundreds of people in a Zoom call or available for a conversation with him, Macaventa. And so my question is that going to require more TRs for Macaventa? Okay, more TRs for Macaventa, more opportunities. So it's not just on Friday, once a week. We need to prepare for Macaventa and TRs at other periods of time, and then be able to, just like we have this Zoom, to be able to accommodate people coming in, many more people coming in. Is that clear? Is that what I'm understanding correctly?
Yes, but don't make the mistake that there'll be 100 people next week online. Okay.
Okay.
This is a developmental process of growth. And if you understand human motivation as Avila has explained it, you'll realize that when people are motivated, when one standard of satisfaction is removed from them, they will seek other means to be satisfied. That's motivation.
Right.
Now, when this world turns upside down for people, particularly for wealthy nations, it'll be most difficult for those individuals. They will be seeking other outs, whether they are God believers or not. And they will be seeking some means by which to stabilize their life when they see everything in their community just going upside down. It is, and what he didn't talk about, but I would interpret him to have said, is that the new TRs need to have their database in sync with his database. And the database is the new era the social, spiritual criteria that they will be using to assist nations to and individuals to grow and live in harmony. It is the Urantia book is one database, and it gives us provides us with the means to talk about relationships and individuals, and the relationship between the individual and God, and Christ Michael and the individual, and so on. However, the task that Macaventa is talking about with this database is really how do we achieve a Christ-like way of living, period, so that we can assist people to have peaceful social relationships. And of course, that has to do with ethics. Yes, you're right, but there's qualifications, and TRs who are not acquainted with teaching mission database and knowledges will have difficulty remaining consistent with the stream of consciousness and language that has been used for the last 35, 40 years. Okay.
So to follow up with that, I listened to the transmission from last week, and it was focused on the role of the facilitator. And Macaventa was very strong about the qualifications of a facilitator. And it seems that the ability to do moral and ethical decision maker has got to be a top priority and top understanding of any facilitator, for two reasons. Not only do they have to be able to do it for themselves in leadership in their communities, but they also need to be able to, in a group setting, identify when there is a lack of moral and ethical decision making in a group setting, so that they can bring that out. That's what I was reflecting on with some of the groups I've recently been involved with, is, there's an old way of making decisions around either virtue ethics or old style ethics that have plagued our planet, and not using those, what we've been learning now to make decisions. So I just feel like this is like the next piece for the facilitator, as well as this decision making.
Yes, I've been working on a business plan for a large corporation that would do this work for the family and for design teams. And I've written a job description for a facilitator, a team facilitator, and a trainer facilitator who would train facilitators. My experience is that the individual who is a trainer, who is a facilitator, needs to have a psycho-spiritual background, meaning that they are well acquainted with psychotherapeutic language and techniques and problems, because what I found in the workshops and in the experimental group I had is that when you have people volunteer to come to your team, they come in total. They come with their problems. They come with everything. They might be totally unaware that they are always butting in, that they're always talking over someone else. How does the facilitator deal with that? It's like Macaventa. He's not pussyfooting around anymore. He's not tolerating that sort of thing. And we don't do that, do we? I don't hear people talking over each other anymore at all. And so there are certain social graces. It's interesting that in my work with Avila regarding ethics, is that there's the 7 values of underlying the ethics. And then there's the various interpretations. You get right down to the expression of these values in life. And below that, you have have etiquette. You have personal etiquette. Because how do we, when it's like our etiquette with Senny. I mean, I'm proud of you guys. Macaventa's proud of you guys for how you greeted Senny. I mean, we truly treat him as our brother, and that we welcome him to this group, and that we see the potential for his contributions to us, to this team, and in his local communities. And so if you have a facilitator who doesn't understand etiquette and politeness, and then those social grace rules, your team is going to go down the tubes. And so you don't have to be a certified therapist, psychotherapist to be a facilitator, but to teach other people to be facilitators, that person's going to have some pretty solid background on ethics, social conduct, a lot of interaction, and so on. The work of the facilitator is to generate a flow and to have people honor that. And that's right there where you get right into the little tedious nitty bitty stuff of politeness and ethics and etiquettes. Okay. I haven't seen evidence of ethical violation in our team ever. I've seen some of it outside the team in other venues, but I haven't seen it here. And so it's not that Macaventa is playing parent at all, but and so we must be good. We know what we need to do and don't do. And so there is a congratulations and thank you for tending to these politenesses, these graces, and virtue ethics. Thanks, Kona.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Sunny, do you have any questions for the group and how we operate while Daniel's here, or any questions for him specifically?
Not at the moment. I'm just attentively listening.
Sure. If you do, we use the hand raise, and if we, I'm our facilitator for Friday mornings, and so if you ever have a question, just raise your hand, or I'll pay attention to your face, and if I see you just quizzical, I'm going to say, Senny, what's up?
Senny is, we're very fortunate to have Senny here with us because he's a reflective thinker. He's very much like Juan. Juan is a reflective thinker, deep thinker. These men are excellent listeners. Thank you, Juan. Gracias.
Yes, no doubt.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
No doubt that's a part of your culture. Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
Assumption.
Okay,
Thank you, Jacques.
We're going to sign off. I think everything is completed and let you guys have at it. All right.
Thank you, Daniel. Good to see you, Cheryl.
Thank you,
Good to see you,
Daniel. Take care. Bye,
Blessings for your
Cheryl.
weekend.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
So I find it very interesting. Oh, Senny left too. He didn't realize that we're still here. Can we send him a quick email and say, hey, Senny, we haven't left yet. Only Daniel left. You're welcome to come back.
I will do it.
Sure. I think it's very interesting because one of the things I had on the agenda for today is a discussion of decision-making and ethics for the facilitator. And so Macaventa brought us a very clear message. Have you guys all read Daniel's Making Sense of Ethics?
Yep.
You have Juan, you've read Making Sense of Ethics?
Yeah. I think Juan and I have translated into French and Spanish.
Okay, perfect. And so the first thing that I had to do to get ready for my class today Just listen to her.
I've shared the agenda if you wish.
Thank you. I'm just going to make a brief statement, then we'll move on. The first thing I had to do to prepare for my class today is to do a review of ethics because it's the research methodologies class. So we have to be well versed in ethics and how we work with the people that we're doing research. So I find that, of course, it's synchronistic. We have what we had planned before, the role of the facilitator, review Juan's information. We discussed this with Seni about being an observer, and then they have the opportunity to state. So we can move on to the discussion about the role of facilitator. Have you guys had thoughts about that since last week? Do we want to pull up his transmission and go through the transmission?
Yeah, I think that's useful. Thank you.
I translated it. I can pull up my copy. Unless
translated it from what language?
Thank you. Transcribed it. It's been a long morning already. Transcribed it from the actual Zoom.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Let me see if I can find it.
I sent the email to Seni. We'll see if it comes back.
Sure.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yes, Juan.
Okay, I have it.
Ok, yo hice un borrador de la transcripción pasada del miércoles. Y no sé si les llegó a ustedes.
Sí, señor. Sí, lo recibí.
Mi objetivo es que ustedes lo revisen bien con el video y hagan las correcciones y den el resultado final entonces. Okay.
Yeah.
What did he say? It's not translating.
He just, I think there's a problem, Jacques. I don't think he's receiving any translation whatsoever. Juan, tú no estás recibiendo nada de traducción. ¿Tengo razón?
¿Traducción de qué forma?
Del inglés que estamos hablando, tú no recibes nada en traducción.
No, pero yo prefiero así porque la transcripción se me da en inglés y es más fácil para trabajar.
Lo entiendo. He says he prefers it only in English. Yeah. So there's no translation at the moment. He was just saying that he wants us to go through it and please, correct it, make sure that. So he's already sent us the transcript, the full transcript. So you don't need to transcribe it. It's all been done.
Oh, for last Friday, I thought he said Wednesday.
No, for Thursday. No, for Wednesday. Yeah, sorry, this is just for Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, I did it for Friday since I wasn't there. That's my way. It's I have to hear, and I can't just hear it. I hear it and type it. Juan?
Okay.
También en el chat, Google Chat, colgué también 3 documentos ahí para ver si ustedes lo están viendo, lo están revisando. Creo que Kona sí lo vio, pero no creo que los demás lo hayan visto.
So he's saying in Google Chat, he put 3 documents and he wanted to know if we'd also seen that. He says he knows you've seen it, Kona, but you haven't revised it yet, right? Yeah.
No, from Wednesday to Friday, it'll probably be like Wednesday's material to Wednesday, Friday's material to Friday.
Friday, yeah.
It's a little hard to do things in just 2 days. And then we were going to also, we didn't put it on the agenda, but talk again about our meeting times. I'm not sure if Sunday is going to work again for me. Martha, are you still continuing to travel?
No, I'm fine. I don't have any travels ahead of me.
Okay. Would you like me to share my screen for, I'm sorry, Jacques?
Yeah, a question about business and transcript. Just to let you know that when I record the recording, the audio, And the transcript, AI transcript, it's loaded on the cloud with a limited amount of 5 gigabytes. Today, download each time I send you a link, I download the file on my own computer and on a backup. Who else is doing this job? I'm alone, or is there somebody else like David? Or
When I do a transcription, I save the recording. I'm not in the habit of saving the recording every time, but I can because I have a Google Drive. I have about a terabyte in Google Drive. I'm sorry, in Microsoft OneDrive. I have about a terabyte. And I can save the recording if you need me to. We were in the process of talking about our toolkit, the things that we need to be successful.
yes, I would say remember the bonjour, Seni, you are
Welcome back, Seni.
Welcome back.
So
do you
Seni,
have more time, Seni? Do you have more time to stay until 6:30 or not? Until an hour from now.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we just wanted to let you know when Daniel leaves, he doesn't stay around for the rest of the work that we do. He leaves because he's done with the transmission and he prefers for us to work alone. So we use this time, like we have an agenda, we use this time to work through the transmission and then also to do the actual work of a design team. And so if you just kind of want to see what we're doing, you know, feel free to just, if you want to stay, that's fine. If you want to leave, that's also fine. We just didn't want you to leave without realizing that we're still here.
Yeah.
And then we also meet on Wednesday, if you would like to have that time. Martha, you have a statement, a question?
I have a question about Seni because he doesn't know us and we know very little about him. And we've all had the benefit of bonding. I was wondering if we could just all introduce ourselves to him, say who we are, and he also has an opportunity to do that with us. Thanks.
Let's finish this conversation with Jacques real quick about what we were discussing, and then we can move on to that.
Thank you.
So need to understand the conversation. We are speaking about keeping for the record all the audio, the transcript, and the audio video of these meetings. So today, I record everything. It's on the cloud with a limited capacity of 5 gigabytes. It means that I have to delete from time to time the old version. Basically, one session is 1 gigabyte. So after 5 sessions, it's not possible. So what I did, I download myself on my own drive because Makivanta told us and told many other groups that for the record, for future generation, we need to keep the record somewhere else on many places around the world. So my question was to my colleague, who is downloading this file also on their own cloud?
So I think, Juan, you have your hand raised, but Juan, you've been posting the recording on YouTube, is that correct?
Sí, yo una vez que recibo los 5 archivos que bajan de Zoom, yo inmediatamente coloco el video en YouTube y con un archivo que se llama transcript. Yo hago la transcripción, el borrador. Hago eso e inmediatamente se lo envío a Marta y a Jacques para que ellos vean el video, lo contrasten con la transcripción, con el borrador y corrijan cualquier anormalidad que haya, cualquier palabra mal puesta o algún problema de redacción que haya. ¿Puedes traducir?
Yes,
Martha, I
certainly.
need a translation, yeah.
Thank you. Juan is just saying, yes, the moment he receives the transcript, he puts it on YouTube and he uses a tool called Transcript to get a rough transcript of the whole recording, which he then sends to Jacques and myself and Kona so that we can go through the recording and fix whatever words are incorrect. So that is how we get a full corrected version. Thank you very much, Juan.
Thank you. So
Gracias.
is that going, so if it's on YouTube, it's in their server and subject to them, is that sufficient for you, Jacques?
No,
No.
it,
So
it's
we
not,
want
because
another,
you know, we have told by the Celestial that we will face some days some shutdown, either
okay.
internet, either servers. With Mission Urancia, you know very well the subject. Keep on various places. So I have one for sure. Kona, you may have another one on your cloud.
Mhm.
There is a third place on YouTube. Okay. Maybe it's enough.
So I can, what you could do right now, to make it easy to share, we can have multiple, is store any of the recordings that you have on your computer to the files in our chat on Google.
Yeah, but
And then
we
I
are not.
can take it from, I can take
Okay.
it from there and
Okay.
store it in my drive so that we have another place.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to, you know, we've had we need to have a more in-depth conversation and maybe get some clarity from Sandra or Macaventa about storing. This may be why they want the physical copies. They want the paper copies. It may be why they want the paper copies, is if we're not going to have electronic, you know, failure at some point in the future, we need to have electronic copies. But I know I've been directed to go paper free. I don't have paper. I don't even have the Urantia book anymore. When I left Atlanta, I was told to leave it behind. And so I have electronic version for now. So I, you know, I trust Spirit in that, but let's have that for a further conversation. But in the meantime, we'll have a backup. If you post it in the files in chat and I can show you how to do that, or Juan can show you how to do that because he's been posting his files, then I can pick up those recordings and put them also in a file.
Okay. No, but
And
I can do it.
I'll start doing that from now on. I'll start
Okay.
downloading. I
Okay.
have some of them, but I don't have all of them.
Okay. No, I keep this backup, and I have already told my daughter, in case I left this planet early, she's my backup. So-
Okay.
No, it's just, you know, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Will you pull the agenda back up really quick so Cindy
Yes.
sees what we're doing?
Wait.
And maybe do the introductions as well.
Sure. We have about 50 minutes. Let's try to do, you know, 3 to 5 minutes each at the most. And then we can spend the last half hour reviewing the role of the facilitator from Daniel's transmission from last week. And then we can put on the agenda for next week to review what he discussed today around decision making. And before I forget about it, I would like for each of us to examine ourselves and how we make decisions and whether we have any inclination as to how our decision making is aligned to any other ethics, that cultural ethics, the way that we were raised. What is your source of decision making, and how might we need to tweak that based on the writing and the material that Aval and Daniel have given us. All right, thank you, Jacques. You can take it down.
Okay.
Who would like to begin introductions to Senny? Senny, do you want to tell us about yourself, or would you like to hear from us first?
We would like to hear from you first.
Sure. And Juan, if you don't mind, we'll just give a break so Martha can translate, because the translation in the chat is really terrible. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll go. I'll
you-
make it comfortable for everybody, and I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Sunny, I'm in the United States, in New York, in central New York. I'm a a mother and a grandmother. I'm living with my son and helping him raise two of his small children. Kind of came about pretty suddenly this year after I had already started graduate school. I'm at the Pacific School of Religion, getting a doctor in ministry, and my focus really is on, as I'm learning, I was told to get my application in. It's not my project, it's their project. So it's really focused on this design team process, and everything keeps all of my classes fall into place. My professors, even this new research class that I'm taking is, it's aligning with the ethics, it's aligning with Daniel's message. And so it's pretty fascinating to be, in what I call the vortex of celestial ministry. So that's what I'm doing right now. I don't work outside the home. I work from home as a business consultant to ministries and nonprofits. And, as the Spirit brings me clients, then I have work. And when the Spirit doesn't bring me clients, I'm busy here or taking care of children and my son. So living by the Spirit is just a joy and a pleasure in my life. It's just it's fun. It's what I like to do. And so my name is Kona Mahu. It is a chosen name from Makua, who was a Hawaiian shaman. And he trained Daniel Wesselman a long time ago. And together they wrote several books. And in one of them, they identified the Mahu, which is how I identify in my personal life. And so I took that as a last name. And then Kona, Hawaii is the place where the Ironman Championship race is, and it has been my destination race for over 20 years. But I have physical challenges, and so I changed my name in order to align myself with, with my goals. It keeps me focused. But I have a true affinity for the Pacific cultures, and I love the Hawaiian culture. And the other Pacific cultures. And at PSR, a lot of the students that I go to school with are from the Pacific Islands. And so I feel quite at home there. So I would love to learn more about you and where you are. And New Zealand's been on my bucket list, and in Australia too. So maybe there's a visit. We'll be there soon.
Yeah.
That's enough about me. Who would like to go next?
Okay, I will do it. So I am Jacques Reverso. I am French. I live in France, close to the Pyrenees. I have 71 now. I am married, 2 daughters and 2 grandsons. So family learning for my 2 grandsons, it's quite a challenge this day, for sure. So I was raised in a Catholic family, but soon I discovered that there is something wrong with their teaching. When I go inside, when I was young, I was going inside, and I have some very strong insights. And later I discovered through the Urantia book that it was my thought adjuster. But it was much more later. So I discovered, then after I was working in the Air Force, French Air Force for 20 years as an avionics specialist. And I did more than 10 or 12 years in the Air Force as a teacher and master teacher for the other people. Then after I jumped to the Airbus, probably the Airbus. So my challenge for Airbus is I want to find a big company so that I can work with many people from 21 countries in Airbus, speaking only English, and have the ability to travel a lot. So I travel to New Zealand for sure, in Auckland, Christchurch, and Australia. So that was a big interest for me to meet all these people. And because I read the Urantia book from 1974, and I have this idea of the big universe we are all live in, with Christ Michael, Mother Nebadonia, Makivanta. So I don't know if you have this culture of Urantia book, but it changed completely my life. And I met many people around the world discussing with that. So now we are all here saying we are not here by chance. So we have been selected. I don't know what to think about. I want to stay very humble, but I see we are progressing very fast. You cannot believe how within a year we have done many things. So we meet every week and we are progressing. So welcome on board, Sunny. This is me, Jacques.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Juan, do you want to go or shall I go?
Ok, ¿vas a traducir?
Sí, señor.
Ok, yo soy Juan Vicente Ramírez, soy de Venezuela. Venezuela es un país que está al norte de Sudamérica.
I'll just quickly
Eh,
translate from there. Sorry, my name is Juan Vicente Ramirez. I'm from Venezuela, and it's in the north of Latin America, yeah, of South America.
Tenemos costas en el Mar Caribe y limitamos con Colombia, Brasil y las Guayanas. Y también
So
con
he's
Trinidad y
sorry.
Tobago.
I-
Y también tenemos,
Let me just quickly say, so it's the Caribbean Sea, and it has Colombia and Brazil, and the last one.
y también limitamos con Estados Unidos por la parte marítima.
They also share with America a border.
Ok, nací en la región andina, que es la última parte de la cordillera de los Andes, que es parte de la Patagonia y termina en Venezuela. Y
And so the Andes regions, so it's the Andes regions that ends in Patagonia.
ok, y a los 19 años me gradué de bachiller secundaria y me trasladé a Caracas.
So when he was 19, he finished high school and he moved to Caracas.
En Caracas estudié, me gradué de comercio exterior y comencé a trabajar.
He studied foreign business in Caracas and graduated.
Y comencé a trabajar con el gobierno en la parte de aduanas.
And he started working in customs.
Ahí duré 5 años y fundé mi propia empresa.
He's worked there for 5 years before he started his own business.
De trámites aduaneros, la cual todavía vive, todavía existe, aunque yo ya no soy su dueño porque la vendí.
So that business still exists, even though he no longer owns it. And what he did with that was customs transactions.
Ok, ya de ahí vendí y estoy ahorita jubilado, solamente trabajando para ustedes.
He's now retired and he only works for us.
And he
Gracias.
works a lot for us.
He works very hard, yes. Thank you, Juan.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Anything else, or are you happy?
No.
Estás okay.
Muy bien.
Thank you. Then I'll quickly, my name is Martha Miller. I live in Cape Town. I'm a 12th generation South African. My family came here in the 1650s when the first Dutch colonialists came from Germany. My sister's done 12 generations of our ancestry, and we are a majority of French, German, and Dutch. And I've been very fortunate that I have spent the last 20 years being paid to listen to the wisdom of African women. I went to study, I had a Fulbright in which I went to do a master's in women's history in New York at Sarah Lawrence College. I still have an unfinished third version of my thesis, which is a pain point in my life. And I've never been able to finalize it because I have to go back and pay for 6 months before I can do it. But when I came back to South Africa, I said a prayer and I said, please take me to where I can use my talents best. And within a week, the wife of the then president, Mrs. Mbeki, called me and invited me to a conference. And I've been working in that organization for the last 20 years. I'm also the only white person in an organization of very wise, very spiritual African women. And I'm deeply aware of the burdens of white supremacy and everything that goes with it. You know, just looking at what we see in the world, not only the remnants of slavery and apartheid and what's happening in Gaza, between Gaza and Israel. And so I have an enormous burden of responsibility of saying, how do we do things better? When it is so clear, since I was a little girl, I'd look around and say, no, surely this is not possible. And I've been aware of other planets since I was young, and my father once looked at me and I could see he was despairing when I said, but, you know, I'm convinced that there are all these other planets. So I'm very grateful to have found myself in the Urantia community, where it suddenly made such beautiful sense. And to be here with our friends and seeing that I'm daily surrounded by African women who are my mentors, it's clear that there are many people still missing in our group. And I sincerely hope Universe will send them all when the time is right. And we are very grateful for your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Kona. And Juan, I have to really, I have to really pronounce your names correctly.
We
Juan?
did.
Juan's beautiful.
Juan.
Mhm.
Juan.
Oh, Juan?
Juan. Juan.
Juan.
Who?
Sí,
Juan.
who.
Yeah.
Como who. Like who. Juan.
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 Yeah. Yeah. I still need a bit of time to pronounce your name correctly. Yeah, my name is Seni. Yeah. My proper name is Laiseni, but just call me Seni. I was born in Tonga. I'm not sure whether you know Tonga is a small
I was
island.
born in
Tonga.
an island.
Tonga.
Tonga.
In Tonga.
Tonga.
My
Yeah.
brother's dog's name is Tonga because they lived there for a while he was sailing around the world. So I just thought that's sweet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I come from that island.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm married with 3 young ladies. My eldest is she's 21, and the other one is gonna be 17 in a week time, and 15. And yeah, at the moment I'm a researcher. Been doing it for a number of years. But I come from a very diverse background. My parents, they both mixed blood. So I have a bit of Tongan in me, Samoan, Fiji, bit of English, Jewish, and what else? Yeah, I started my career in the Navy. That's where I started my career. Then I moved into the shipping agency, immigration, some others. But my life has been very colorful in many ways, mostly because I have been a seeker. From a very young age, my mom used to call me walking with the spirit because I usually wake up early in the morning. This was about between 3 years old and 5 years old. I still vividly remember this person I always walk with in the morning. We go spend time in the beach. But at the time, I saw this man as a young version of my father. But in my own mind as a child, I thought he's my father, but much younger version. Then I found out that he's a younger brother of my father, that he passed after a week I was born, and I was named after him. But he was like he was my guardian angel at the time. So when I was young, I just feel that there's something much larger than looking after me, and it has saved me, in a lot of ways. And when I was in my primary school years, I started to notice that I have some kind of I can sense stuff that not other people, I can hear sounds that sometimes that others don't hear it as well. And but my journey, I have been jumped from boats to another, and I don't stay long in a in an organization just to seeing what's that looking what's the thing that I have. And in terms of my education, there's also diverse as well. Education and my how I met Daniel, it was very, very interesting. I just saw his profile picture on academia, and I just connected with him. So I sent him a message, and yeah, from there we are quite connected quickly. But my main struggle has been I don't really fit in. I'm very hard to find. I have many friends, but I don't have somebody that really close with me. And the journey has been very lonely as well. But when I connected with Daniel, somehow it's like what do you call it? I met my soul tribe. There was something with him that I just easily connected with him. But that was my struggle for many, many years, just trying to fit in. And sometimes in the past, when I wasn't really aware of, what I have, and I'll just spend time with friends, and all of a sudden after a year they just took off, and some of them we don't talk anymore. And for some years I thought there was something wrong with me. Why people are just leaving. All of a sudden they know me well, and then they just leave. So my life has been like that. And I did some research as well. I had I had a near-death experience in the year 2000 in Australia, and multiple out-of-body experiences as well. A number of times I had it. Yeah. So that part of my life, yeah. Talk more about that in some other time. But that's me for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think you found your soul tribe now.
Yeah.
I can relate since I was a child, and like what Martha said, is looking at the stars and looking at the planets, and how many times I said, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. Felt like, this is not necessarily my home, and trying to find people that I could relate to or not. And I've only been a Urantia reader for well, let's see, this is September. It's about a year and a half. I found this group, last year even. And, I had just finished my Master of Divinity at Candler School of Theology at Emory University in Atlanta. And, I've been through 3 different denominations and trying to be ordained, and I have all of these spiritual gifts, and the church just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And so I finally just fired the church and said, okay, I'm done. Let me, Spirit, where are we going? And I started Googling Christ consciousness, and I found Donna D'Angelo, similarly to how you found Daniel, perhaps, and opened up the Urantia book, and I'm like, oh, finally something makes sense. Finally, somebody is telling me about the universe, all of those things about the universe that now it makes sense, because I knew that there was more to the picture, but I just couldn't find, the quote unquote documentation. I couldn't find the right scripture to validate what I knew was true. And so, I feel like I have definitely found my spirit tribe, because, it's a group of people that understands that celestials interact, and the experiences that you had as a child, you're walking with spirit, or, you've been walking with spirit, but very few people in our locality, and each person here would tell you the same thing. In their community, do they know anybody that understands the walk that they have? And we don't. I'm lucky that my son does, that I live with. He respects my walk with spirit. Do my other kids? No. They don't understand it, but that's okay. At least I have
Mm.
one son that does, and hopefully his children will learn to walk with spirit as well. So, welcome to your new family.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mona.
So
Welcome.
Seni, as Kona said, even myself and my family, I am a little bit alone doing this stuff and not
Mm.
very well supported, as you were not supported by your friends. Because many people found this very strange. How can you speak to
Mm.
Celestial on video? Are you crazy, my God? You are crazy. That's a life
Yeah.
on Urantia.
Yeah, but as Daniel said, we're called as light workers, and as Mekaventa said,
Mm.
he saw your light, so he's just connecting you with the other specks of light, but we're also tasked with helping the planet to evolve. And so
Mm.
that's the nature of the work that we do. And where we had just been meeting, this group has been meeting much longer. I'm baby to this group. And I've
Mm.
only requested to be facilitator to Daniel so that I can look at becoming a better facilitator. That's the only reason why I'm a facilitator on this Friday. Jacques has been facilitator for a long time. Martha's facilitated. Juan usually
Mm.
declines. But because of my program, I've only requested to be facilitator on Friday. But if you have any inclination to, be facilitator and learn that role, we're going to talk more about the roles. I would
Mm.
like to know, I know we've taken a good bit of time, but this is important if you're going to, keep coming back and spending time with us. How much
Yes.
do you know about the design team process with Daniel? Have you read any of his manuscripts or anything like that yet?
Yeah, I have started reading, but yeah, I don't know about it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So today, like we had shown you before, we were going to discuss his transmission. It was our next goal. Macaventa is precise. He hears
Mm.
us and he responds. We had decided we were going to work on the role of the facilitator. And so he gave us a transmission last week on the role of a facilitator. So we were
Okay.
going to look at that and have some discussion about that. And if you guys are ready, I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Okay.
All right, let me make it a little bit bigger because I have everything small. Okay, and so what I'll do, because it is small on the screen, is I can make it a little bit bigger, but I'll read it. And then I'll read it as well. Or Martha, you have such a beautiful voice. If you'd like to read, let's read one paragraph at a time, and then just similar to what the Urantia study groups do, let's take each paragraph and break it down and see if there's anything we need to extract out of it. Does that work for you guys?
Yes.
Perfect.
Is that large enough for you, Martha?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. And thanks for
Okay.
the kind compliment. Message. From one without name or number, the planetary thought adjuster of Urantia, introducing Makiventa Melchizedek. This is Makiventa. We have reasons for presenting this today, as it provides a developmental and evolutionary approximation of the end of instructions regarding the design team teaching mission. Shall I read the next one as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just curious. So this is the end of instructions regarding the design team teaching mission. I was a little curious about that. We know that the teaching mission part 1 is coming to an end, but the end of instructions for the design team, do you guys have any thoughts about that?
No. My feeling, Kona, is we have been given 30 years of transcript, because Sunny, I'm not sure you know, but there are 1,000 upon 1,000 of transcript. And the first one started in New Zealand and Australia. And you have a close friend to you, George Bernard, living in Australia. in Queensland.
Mm.
He passed away now, he's dead, but he gave a lot of lecture from the 11-11 groups. There are plenty of very wise messages there. And because they have introduced to us many subjects, I think what he means in the first paragraph, it is the end of this part. Today, we have been given everything. It's start to do work.
Okay.
To remove remove our sleeves and do the work. It's
Okay,
my
perfect.
understanding.
Thanks for that. Go ahead, Martha.
If you're a cynic, skeptical, or pessimistic, you might think that some of the developments that we have presented to you are a way for you to fail. However, as you know so well from your trials and tribulations as mortals on your rancher, that failure is the antidote in itself to succeed. If you want to succeed, you also need to know how to fail. And once you have recognized that you have failed in some project, that you then consciously and deliberately ask for assistance to figure out and receive the right answers for your problem.
Any conversation about this paragraph? All right. Go ahead,
Clearly
Martha.
saying, sorry,
Oh,
thank
go
you.
ahead.
He's clearly saying to us that we have failed. He's clearly saying that we've given you this and you haven't really made any headway with it.
Or he's giving us permission to fail. Remember, we've talked about the process of a design team is to prototype, test, and it might fail. And if it does fail, then we simply go back to
Yeah.
the drawing board, ask more questions, do more research, create a new prototype, test it. And if it fails again, so where you read it, Martha, we failed.
Yeah.
I read it as we have permission to fail.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Perfect. Shall I continue?
Sure.
Design teams are part of the developmental structure of the correcting time in the teaching mission. Design teams provide a segue between individual instruction and group instruction and civilization instruction. This is where you learn how to work with each other in a team setting. It is important that you learn this because you will always be in team settings for your eternal career. This year is simply preparation for your merantial experience with you and your team. You'll be going through the instructions of how to operate as whole individuals within a team setting.
I personally thought that was a beautiful explanation of the team setting and very encouraging, is having, like Sunny, like you said, finding your tribe is really hard, and having worked so much on my own and feeling alone for so much of my life and career, the idea of being in a team setting. When I got my MBA, we were in a team setting there, and I learned, a lot about working as a team. And I've been a coach, and working with teams. Being on a team is hugely important for me. And so I really had a lot of appreciation for this particular paragraph. Any other comments?
Sunny, team setting is very difficult. Personally, I saw that all the Urantia movement organization would back up us, would be with us with this celestial message. But you have to be aware this is not the case today. There is a sort of separation. These people concentrate on the Urantia book itself, but they never want to read or discuss about transcript, about transmission as we had today. So you see, even if you know the book, it's always based on your own experience from your heart, from your soul. Either you feel here comfortable or not, this will be part of your experience as it is part of our own experience.
Yeah, I likened that to, the separation of the church between Protestant and charismatic churches, churches that understand the power and the presence of the Holy Spirit versus churches that don't. This for me is like the Urantia book. The Urantia book, who are exclusive, do not acknowledge the presence of the celestials operating in and through people like Daniel. where the teaching mission folks do recognize, understand, and accept the celestials operating through people like Daniel. That's the difference. So yes, we're in a team setting, but you know, Jacques is right. There's a separation even in this group. Any other comments about this paragraph? In Moranchal, that's a new word. Are you familiar with what Moranchal is, Senny?
No, not at all, Kona.
Who would like to give a short and sweet explanation of Moranchal?
I can try. It's my understanding that the next level after we leave this earth is a Moranchal one. So it's on our way towards spiritual development. And they often say that a lot of our experiences are for the Moranchal realm. So, you know, when they say in my father's house there are many mansions, the mansion world is a Moranchal world.
Mm.
So things are slightly different there to what they are when we're still alive.
Mm.
So we don't necessarily have the physical body, but we're not entirely pure spirit in this in-between space of the Moranchal realm.
So it's kind of similar with the Roman Catholic idea of purgatory.
Similar, right? You don't have the physical body, and you're not quite in quote unquote heaven or paradise yet. We have an understanding that there is what's called an ascension career. We start here in the mortal frame, but we leave and we have the opportunity, it's a choice, to continue with ascension all the way to paradise or to heaven. It's billions of years long. There's lots to do. This is just the beginning. This is just Earth school. This is just the beginning. So that Moranchal realm is when we leave the mortal body behind and we still exist, but we're not quite pure spirit, you know, which is more perfection.
And we're still being taught.
Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
Jacques.
According to the Ursia book, we have 570 transformation before meeting the Paradise Father. So, and Moranchal is one of the first.
Right.
Mm.
All right, go ahead, Martha.
Here in your design team, it can be either a co-creative design team or
the one before that. I'm sorry, there's one little
I thought
before that.
Isn't that where we got the Moranchal? Oh, okay. Our interest for your wholeness is thorough, and it is to achieve completeness for your wholeness. This is the way to graduate from the Moranchal sphere environment to the spiritual environment. Here in your design team, it can be either a co-creative design team or a standard community-based design team without a spiritual consultant. The achievement of balance and wholeness in the team is one that requires wholehearted participation by each individual, and that your personal agenda is that of creating a team that is functional, works well together, and the differences are aired, not only aired, but resolved by suggestions within the team and from your celestial teacher.
Any comments on this paragraph?
I think we need to explain to Seni the difference between what we call co-creative design team and standard design team. Co-creative, today we have a co-creative design team with Daniel as a TR channeling Makiventa. On Wednesday, sometimes it's Kona who channels Sanjad as well. Sometimes it's Martha. They are very humble, but they do very good job. So co-creative is with celestial consultant, where standard design team is anywhere. You have met many of them in your life, or probably.
Mm.
So co-creative is very special, and we are learning. And apparently, on Earth today, there are very few co-creative design team.
The second part of what Jacques is saying is that not everyone is going to be accepting of a co-creative design team, but we can prepare people to use this design team method in a standard community setting, which is more circular, and not hierarchical where you have, you know, somebody telling people what to do. It's where you're coming together to determine what is the best course of action for the community or whatever community issue that is present. So we're also being prepared to just train community leaders in this process so that the community can participate in solving their own problems. All right. Go ahead.
Should I continue? There is
Sure.
one office of the design team, the facilitator, which we have not completely described, and the requirements for a facilitator for the design team, whether it's a co-creative design team or community-based design team. Should I continue?
I think so, yeah.
The facilitator is a position we have spoken about peripherally, incompletely. What is necessary for a full-time functioning design team is a facilitator who has a background in psychotherapeutics, a person who understands the human psyche and has done clinical counseling and facilitation in groups and in teams. It is not necessary that this person be a certified psychotherapist, not at all. It can be an individual from the community who is mature, socially responsible and capable, one who is empathetic, but also takes the lead as a leader to be firm with the necessities of moving the team ahead so that it functions adequately.
So I'm going to go back to this word because you translated it
Yeah.
as something else. It's empathic.
Empathic, not empathetic. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So empathic, and there's a little bit of a difference. As the empathic person is about 1 in 20 people are empathic, where they can literally sense the emotions of others. I, being an empathic person, you know, I'm more familiar with that. But I encounter people who, you know, like I can not only sense the emotions of others, but I can also sense animals. I can sense electronics. I can sense plants. You know, I have more of a sense of the spirit or other sentient beings when they operate, as opposed to some folks who, you know, they can pass by, you know, a tree and never, it's a tree, so what kind of thing. So empathic skills are similar. I mean, I'm not going to be a certified psychotherapist, but I can read the room and I can read people even at a distance, and I can sense the emotions that are occurring in the space. So if you have that capacity, it's something also to be aware of. And if you do, you probably are. This particular paragraph caught my attention. And I would like for us all to discuss that, because we're not certified psychotherapists. So what other skills do we have that make us good facilitators?
Well, we have said this before, but we need to read on the face of the other, because we are on Zoom video, so it's a physical attitude of the person. Here we can only see the face, but we can see the reaction of the face, either it's passive, active, or something else. And we have to check that every person on this Zoom meeting can participate as well. We have some problem with the language. For example, with Juan, it's not maybe easy. We are aware it's not always easy for him to follow in English, because he speaks Spanish, not English.
We're fortunate to have a translator, because Zoom doesn't speak Spanish either. Not Venezuelan Spanish. Fourth line down, it can be an individual from the community who is mature, socially responsible, and capable. When we get into today's transmission about decision makings, part of the maturity is mature decision making. And I think we'll need to come back and and talk about that some more too. We're not with each other in our societies, so we're going to assume that we're socially responsible and capable human beings. But you know, when we start thinking about creating training, like Daniel's talking about training the trainers, being facilitators, training facilitators, we will eventually be asked to move into that role. So these are just things to keep in mind. If there's no other further discussion, then we can move to the next paragraph.
Thank you. The issue that facilitators will be dealing with in community teams throughout this nation and other nations in the future is that members of the team will be drawn from as volunteers from their communities. When people volunteer for a team setting, it is necessary that there be a time for getting acquainted, where all of you meet together socially so that you can discover each other, so that those individuals with similar backgrounds have the knowledge of each other in the team. These shared experiences are essential for you to become effective in a team. However, there will be individuals who do not fit that mold, individuals who bring with them the trauma and PTSD situations from their childhood. These will need to be resolved. That is where the facilitator as a trained individual can be of assistance, great assistance to those individuals. The team setting is not a therapeutic setting, however, but there's some of the most basic elements of interrelationship and ethics of interrelationships are essential to understand in the team setting, which the facilitator will train you on, I guess.
This is also packed full. Any comments or conversation, dialogue about this paragraph? Other than the fact that we haven't been able to meet together and socialize yet? The first thing that occurred to me when reading this is just, as Macavenda said, you know, we need to be prepared for lots of other people joining us. So if you're facilitating a group and you find that someone is coming in and they're taking over the conversation and you find that it is becoming therapeutic, that they're seeking, and I've seen this happen on Zoom in other settings, in life coaching settings, they're looking for validation, they're looking for sympathy, they're looking to share their story. How would you as a facilitator handle that? How long would you let that person hold the floor? What would you do? That's my question to the group. You're also polite.
No, if a person take the flow to discuss their own issue, of course you have to be polite, but you need to discuss this, I would say, personally aside from this meeting. You cannot these people discuss their problem on this kind of meeting. This never happened on this group, but I understand it may happen to other group. It's how I would treat the problem, discuss with the people personally, but outside the group.
So let's do a role play and pretend I'm the person that's having a personal issue and you're the facilitator. So I'm wah, 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 wah. How exactly would you, what verbiage would you use? How would you stop me mid-sentence? How would you redirect it? Wah, 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 wah.
I would
Wah,
say,
wah, wah.
I would say, Kona, you know, we are discussing today this subject about the facilitator. What is the issue you have with us today or with you today? What is the problem you face?
Okay, anyone else?
May I just suggest that just the word problem would be problematic, because I think one would have to say, Kona, can we come back to the subject under discussion? You know, thanks for adding that, but can we please focus on this paragraph? What do you think this means? To just gently bring her back without problematizing her input.
or opening the door for her to say anything else. Because if you say, what is the problem? Then you're saying, oh, you want to talk about my problem. Great. I need an audience for my problem. Thank you. Wah, 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 wah. I think, early in the meetings, like we've done, we have timeout in some of our meetings. This is like a timeout. Say, excuse me, I'm your facilitator. I'm going to interrupt you at this moment. I'm so sorry to do this to you, being very polite, but what you're talking about is completely off subject. And we are dedicated to the subject at hand. If you want to talk to somebody about that at another time, please make an appointment, give us a phone call, send an email, but this is not the time to have that particular discussion. So I hope that you'll please respect the rest of the group and let's get back on task. That's an example of how I might handle that. Martha?
Thank you. I was just thinking two things. The one is that it's very clear that we need some kind of masterclass on psychotherapy anyway, almost like going back to Freud and just having a summary up to where we are to make it clear in a group setting what is useful psychotherapy to know in a group setting. And there's a lovely saying that says, madness is unusual in individuals, but it is the rule in groups. And the other thing is that even the facilitators, all the facilitation skills in the world is also a masterclass that we need. So I think that there are two masterclasses of 2 hours each, maybe, that all of us can benefit from before we get involved in real life facilitation sessions.
Sure. Those are great suggestions. I'm cognizant of the time, and in the last 2 minutes, I'm going to make a special request. Juan, our AI guru, can you take this transcription and put it through AI for bullet points? I know we had that to some degree from the AI summary, but to pull the main points of a facilitator from Macaventa's, and then the two suggestions that Martha made, facilitating in group, what are best protocols, and facilitating in a group to keep people on task. That goes back to basic meeting etiquette, but yes, facilitators need to have special skills. What was the second masterclass? Oh, psychotherapy.
And psychotherapy.
Perhaps those would be a great AI search, and just to give us some basic places to start. All right, we're down to the last minute. I can mark this here. Is it agreeable? We still have quite a bit to go, that at our next session that we won't have all of the introductions. I'll highlight this here to know that that's a place to start. I'll work on a transcription for the one from today because I think it's perfect. And then Senny, if you would like, I can add you to our chat space so that you can see the documents that we post and participate in any conversation. Would you like that?
Yes, Paula, yes.
Sure. And are you aware that we also meet on Wednesdays?
No, I haven't, but yeah, I would love to join.
Okay. All right. So let's make sure that it starts not at the same time. You'll get to sleep in on Wednesday. It's noon Eastern Standard Time, which is an hour and a half after today started.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Anything else before we depart? So we're ready for Wednesday?
No, we can have a small prayer to thank the Celestial for this very productive, I would say, session today, and the welcoming of Seni today with us.
Yes, new tribe member.
And one question to the team: would you like me to contact our Russian friend,
Please.
Godwin?
Yes.
Because I will send an email sharing with him some if he want to join also. Then we will see big. Yeah, because Godwin is well aware of for all the Daniel transcript. He's living in Russia, and Russia is quite a, as you know, difficult time these days there. But we will see. Yes, Juan.
Godwin es muy amigo mío,
Really? Juan?
¿sí? Él y yo
He's a good
colaboramos
friend of
con,
Juan.
él y yo hacemos la página Tiem Rusia.
He and Juan together does the page. TM Russia.
Yo hacía
Oh.
las traducciones de esa página web. Godwin es una excelente persona y fue aquella persona que introdujo aquellos términos de motivación. ¿Te acuerdas cuando los 7 valores principales? Él empezó a hacerle preguntas a Maquiventa acerca de qué motivaba a hacer eso. Y de ahí en adelante se comenzó a hablar de motivación. Una
Oh,
persona muy inteligente.
can we get a translation?
Yeah, certainly. So he's saying that Godwin is an excellent person. And he worked with Godwin translating his web page, I guess, into Spanish. But he says Godwin is the person who is responsible for starting the conversation about motivation. When Maquiventa was talking about the 7 values, Godwin used to ask questions, which then led to the motivation
Oh, fabulous.
conversations.
Okay.
Es una persona que ha trabajado con las microaldeas, las ecoaldeas descritas por las transcripciones. Y él
Sorry,
no
I don't
solamente-
understand, Juan. Sorry, I didn't
Okay.
understand.
Sí,
No
por favor.
entendí la última oración. He worked with.
Bueno,
Who did he
él
work
también
with?
tiene otro sitio web que habla
He has
sobre
another
las
web.
ecoaldeas,
What's Equaldeas?
ecocomunidades.
Oh, sorry. He has another website that talks about eco communities. Wow. Okay. Please make us aware of it. Can you put it in the chat?
Pero
What is it
el
called?
problema es que él es poco asequible. Él no se
Probably in
consigue
Russian.
así más.
Yeah, he says it's not accessible. Es in the Russo?
Es ruso, habla inglés.
Okay, it's in Russian and English. Okay.
Okay.
Sería muy
Well,
importante para nosotros que lo tuviéramos acá.
It will be very important for us to have him here. Absolutely. I
Okay.
agree.
well, maybe Juan can speak to him as well, or also
Yeah.
extend the invitation.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, we
Okay.
are past time, so let's
Thank
have
you so much.
a closing prayer. Jacques, you want to give us a closing prayer then?
Yeah. Yes, if you want.
Yes, please.
Dear friend, what a very nice session we had today. We trust on our celestial helpers. We trust them. It's quite a challenge for human, but when we are at this stage of trust between celestial and human, we see the progress we can do. We can do progress for our own career, eternal career. We are on a learning curve here. We understand we cannot touch our politician or politic people. They are too high from us and far above us, not understanding what's going on. But Maquiventa is clear. Start by yourself, start by your community. So this is a message we have received today. Start by ourselves, our community, and we make good progress. We ask that we are all guiding during our days, every one of us, and we are linked together with this circuit of lights that we have activated. We know that this is real, that is true. So thank you so much for all what you are providing to us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jacques.
Amén.
Thank you, everyone. You guys are
Gracias.
such a blessing.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, thank
Bye,
you.
Kona. Love to the little ones.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Seni,
Jack,
and to your
Love to
remember-
you.
daughters. Hasta luego, Juan. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Jacques,
Au revoir,
Yes.
Jacques.
Oh.
remember send to me the video link
Yes,
to download.
I will do it tonight. It takes some time to process. We have not discussed also the AI transcript because it's
Because
also,
I need work.
I will send it.
He
when
needs
ready.
work.
He needs work.
You need work. You will have it.
Very good. We'll discuss more on Wednesday. All
Yeah.
right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sunny. Lovely to have you here.
Ciao,
Yeah,
Sunny.
thank you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, you.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Gracias.
Bye-bye. Take care.